Yo, 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 what's good, fam? It's your boy, Tahir Johnson, and we are here with an episode of the Cannabis Diversity Report. I got my good brothers, James and Tim from GreenSTOP in the building. What's good, my guys?
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Tahir?
Tahir, thanks for having us, brother.
Yeah. Well, first of all, for everybody that's rocking with us, tuning in, watching, listening today, I gotta say what's up. You know, it's been a minute since we did this. I've been, of course, busy, but I love, love having the opportunity to connect with all the listeners that are interested in learning about the industry. Just hearing about these different stories of people that are making moves. GreenStop, man, I've been watching y'all, seeing what you've been doing for a long time now. So it's a pleasure to have y'all on here from from the West Coast. And man, just to get started, tell a little bit of people about who y'all are. Who's GreenStop. How you get started in the industry.
Yeah, beautiful. So we'll talk a little bit about who we are and how we got started. So I'm Timothy. I'm one of the co-founders, one of the original visionaries of the concept of the red box of weed and the new revolutionary vending machine that we created. But myself, I'm a Southern California native. I kind of came up with a sports background. Like I was a guy that went to college on scholarship for basketball. If you're wondering what kind of game I had, my game was kind of like Klay Thompson. I was like a red bone guy, splash brother. It was crazy. It still is crazy. But that's
hey, James, you gonna give himself Klay though? Is he really Klay?
Hey, nicer.
I'm gonna tell you, this dude was averaging 30 in high school, bro. Not playing.
Word. Yeah, we were killing it, and even nationally on the circuit. Basketball was my first love, so that was kind of how I came up. After college, got into business. Had a marketing company that was doing about $500,000 a year in revenue. Did that for a couple of years, kind of get my feet wet, and then from there, got into GreenStop. How I got into GreenStop is California, just like Jersey, has a booming market, and I got a chance to go into dispensaries a lot when it was still the medical legacy kind of era. From about 2012 to about 2014, I was going into a lot of shops in just about 2 years. It was crazy to me. I was like, oh my gosh, we don't have to go to the weed man. I don't have to go in the alley anymore. I don't have to call one of my buddies. I can just go to these stores. So I was infatuated. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I would go into different stores, and I would buy weed. I would buy weed a lot. And after going into stores, I got enough experience inside the stores to where I realized, like, hey, these retail setups are pretty cool, but I see a lot of things broken with them. I have a new vision where I think we should bring some vending and have some automated experience, kind of like Redbox. And that was really where the vision came from going into so many dispensaries, hundreds and hundreds of dispensaries, and realizing that, hey, some dispensaries are cool. Some dispensaries, I really don't like the experience. Some dispensaries I go to, it's pretty quick and convenient. Some dispensaries I go to, it's extremely long. I waited almost an hour to get my weed. And getting all those different experiences, it gave me some type of vision for what I thought I would want to experience. And that's really where the vision of GreenStop came up. We came up with the concept. And then from there, I talked to James about the idea. James is a genius. And not only is he in the vision, James talks a lot about execution, has some ways about how we can execute it. And it basically that was the start of the journey. But I'm gonna let James talk about your background as well too.
Yeah, so he kind of told you the founding of GreenStop really quickly, but I'm James Edwards. I'm the co-founder. I came on initially when the idea was brought on. My background is retail. I went to school at Cal State LA for TV and film, but I was really interested in what he was doing. I was managing a Fortune 500 retail store, managing over 50 employees, and one of the things that I would run into a lot is cashiers calling out or, customer service agents calling out. And I would see Ralph's, I would see, Kroger's and, these big box retailers like Walmart having self-checkout. And when he told me, the background, the idea of it, like the red box for weed, literally my brain exploded. I couldn't go back. And every day I was thinking about this. So I immediately started investing in his idea, and we started a company. And that's kind of how the initial concept of GreenStop was birthed through Timothy's experience in dispensaries.
Yeah, so that's amazing. I think it speaks to a lot of different things because clearly it sounds like y'all have, like some different type of skill sets. Like Timothy, like you're like inventor kind of thinking like problem. James, it sounds like you, of course, like had that sales retail experience. So like putting those two together. So like it's one thing to have a good idea, but y'all actually took it from concept to like reality, right? Like what did that process look like to come from concept to reality? And how did y'all really like even like, cause it's difficult. How did you know to like really play your lanes to like really do it? And you know what I'm saying? Make it happen. What did that look like?
Yeah. So I think that when anybody starts a business, I mean, we kind of know your history a little bit, how you started wanting to be in the industry and how you kind of developed your journey, and it took you some time to get there. I think technology in general, especially coming from a community that's not really involved in the tech industry as much, it just came from like a need, right? We really needed this in the industry. I wanted dispensaries after he told me about it, and I started seeing there was a need for this. And there's no big players. And we kind of sat down and we spent some time looking at, a lot of the big time, retailers like Redbox and Coinstar and, these other vending machines that came out. And one thing that we looked at is that we want to think outside the box. We're not copycats. We're original visionaries. And we spent some time, we call it cannabating, where we smoke some ganja and we sit there and we focus on a problem until we come up with a great solution. And that's where you see the world's first 4-user vending machine. So any vending machine you guys have ever seen in your entire life, I don't care if you're in Japan, I don't care if you're in New York, LA, Dubai, they're all single-user vending machines. We are the inventors of multi-user vending. And that came out of a need because dispensaries like out there in New Jersey, you guys are expected to see 500 to 1,000 people a day because there's such a demand right now. Imagine if I said, hey, I got one vending machine for you, and it takes up the same spot. This one takes up 36 inches, and we just realized that we need multi-user vending. So we pioneered it, we visioned it, and then the part of crafting it into reality is, building a good team. My background is his background in recruiting for businesses. That's something that we realized we're not engineers, but we're visionaries. And we have this concept. Let's put the people in place. Let's lay out the designs. Let's lay out the vision, and let's start really trying to figure it out. And we built a prototype. We went to TechCrunch. We're the first Black tech company invited for Cannabis to TechCrunch in 2018. We got a lot of interest, and then we just had to continue to fundraise and continue to build our brand. And we launched our first stores in 2021, and it's been kind of growing ever since. And that's kind of a quick piece. I don't know, Tim, do you have anything else you want to throw in on that?
Yeah, I think one thing that's really unique about James and myself, you were asking about how do we play our role, is we're really big on the best idea in the room. James and myself did a really good job of just not being egotistical and just accepting the best idea because we have the same goal. We want to win. We don't care if the ideas come from James, or we don't care if the ideas come from myself. Anyone else, in the organization, we welcome ideas. I think we value ideas here. And I think when you shift to that type of thinking of truly, truly valuing ideas, you don't really care where it comes from. You just care about, in what way can I contribute? And I think that's really the role that everyone plays. And when you're always finding ways to contribute, and you're always really caring about the best outcome, and you truly feel that way, it's really easy. But one thing that's really unique about me and James is we're co-CEOs. You don't see it very often. Panera Bread, there's a couple of big companies out there that have done it, but it's Whole Foods for a little while. But it's really, really rare because it takes a special type of individuals to do something like that, to have that type of, to be able to have that type of healthiness around power, if that makes sense. And that, you know what I'm saying? So we actually have known each other since I was 14 years old, he was 15 years old. So we've actually been like right and left hand, best friend, ace boom coon type buddies for almost 2 decades. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that's really unique, that we had known each other for almost 12, 13, 14 years before we even started this business. As buddies. And we always wanted to go into business with each other because James always knew I was motivated. He knew I was a go-getter. I was an achiever. I always knew James had great ideas. He was a genius. I knew he was about his business and wanted to win. So we always wanted to work together. We just never really found that right fit. And then GreenSTOP happened. We found that fit. So I think that chemistry was really unique and rare. And it's been one of our strengths and one of our blessings. Gives us more reach. But that's why it's been able to work, is we have the right mentality going into something like this, but we do have that previous relationship. Like, I'm not sure I could do this with anyone else. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't James Edwards, it's just Timothy Island. I'm sure probably James the same way. If it wasn't Timothy Island, it's probably just James Edwards. Like, it's a really unique relationship. So I think it's something really unique about the GreenSTOP management side.
Yeah, and I understand how valuable that could be, because even like I said, in this situation, like I said, my opening a dispensary, right? I'm doing it together with my boy John. We've been rocking each other since preschool. You know what I'm saying? So like, when you have that relationship with somebody, like, you really know each other. For one, like, it removes that thing where, like, you could really keep it real with each other, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? You can have those tough conversations because you're really friends. But it's also more fun, right? Like, doing it, working together with one of the homies, you know what I'm saying? Making stuff happen.
For sure.
Yeah, and coming up with your buddies is cool too, because you know they're gonna ask you for money anyways.
Right. Right. Hey, we gonna get it together. You don't gotta worry about James. Don't gotta ask me about the money. We getting it together, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, man. So so tell me, how difficult? Like, this is still a very new technology. I've been in a bunch of dispensaries. I've never even actually personally, right? Because I'm in probably newer markets, never even been in a dispensary that's had a vending machine. How easy is it for you guys to navigate the regulatory market in cannabis and to get into new markets? How difficult is it? What does that process look like?
Yeah, that's a great one. So we're big on compliance. We're big on working in legal markets with licensed dispensaries. We're not the legacy days. We weren't interested in launching our tech into legacy shops unless they were licensed. So that's a big part of it. We have a legal team that kind of does a lot of our due diligence for us. Obviously, me and Timothy, before we even started the business, we read the entire California law, the Colorado law, the Washington law. This is when those states were still kind of new, and we were looking at it from a perspective of, if this isn't even legal, we're not going to go forward. There's no point of really trying to circumvent regulations. So anytime we're looking at a new market, for example, New Jersey, New York, Mississippi just came online, and they're really interested in our technology as well. We kind of do a couple different things from a top-down perspective. We validate the market. We have our legal team run legal analysis on the city and the state in which the store is in. And then we kind of also look at the dynamics of the market. So what's cool about us being a hands-off company, we don't sell cannabis. We lease and license our tech to dispensaries or brands that are licensed to sell, so that they can run a more cost-efficient business. So before we even go into a market, we always look at those things. And what's cool about us is that we're not inhibited by state lines or federal rules, because we're not selling cannabis. We're just selling our technology or leasing our technology. So there's not a lot of limits on where we can go. What's exciting is we're actually getting a lot of interest from countries outside of America. A company out of Thailand wants 20 machines, and we just told them, hey, we give us a little bit of time before we get to Thailand. We just leave in California officially. So we're getting a lot of interest worldwide, and that's what's cool about technology, is that we could do a couple little tweaks to the code, and it's now in Thai. We have an English and a Spanish button if we want to go down to Latin American markets. So those are things like that we can implement that wouldn't cost a lot of money, but now we can take our tech to another country or another market.
Yeah, that's dope, man. And taking it a step back, I love that y'all said, like, even you came up with the concept because you were thinking about like other industries, right, where vending machines are prevalent, and you saw like where they could be a use in cannabis. And of course, you coming up with the multi-vending concept for a busy store, like, I mean, is a big game changer as well. How have you seen, like, how easy have you seen, like, it is for customers to adopt this? Like, in the stores that you're in, are you seeing it where like people are actually using it, or what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. So we have a store right here in Sherman Oaks, California, basically Los Angeles. I'll use them as an example. But the adoption's going really, really great. And there's a couple things to what makes the adoption work. Is one, as long as the machine's filled up with a variety of products, customers are very, very interested. You know, that's the first thing. And the second thing is, it's all about advocating. You know what I mean? Because the reality is, when someone looks at this machine, they are almost looking at like a rocket ship from SpaceX, a rocket ship from, they almost like, yeah, they've seen vending before, but they've never seen this unique shape. They've never seen multiple screens. The machine has 6 screens on it right now. They've never really seen that. So like, they're already infatuated. The curiosity is bringing them to it. But for other people that are just kind of almost don't know what it is, because the shops and their teams and the staff and the bud tenders are all advocating, as soon as they check their ID, you know, they're letting them know, hey, are you looking for something quick? What are you kind of experience you looking for? Or you can go straight to the vending machine. And as soon as they get in, they're getting pointed to the vending machine if they're that type of customer. So a big part of the adoption is the machine being in the location with a ton of inventory and a lot of variety. That's been driving adoption. And then the store and the staff advocating right away as soon as customers come into the store, because a lot of customers are going to love this experience. Are there corner cases where there's customers that, you know, like want to buy bongs to hear, and they want to, and they're old people and they want to just sit and talk, you know, they're lonely, they don't get a lot of conversation. Everyone that's worked in retail knows there's different type of shoppers. There are going to be those people that want to, you know, linger and just talk, you know, but there's a lot of people that they want to kind of get on with their day. So it's beautiful because you're able to service all the different customers, and the adoption is really good right here in Sherman Oaks. A lot of people coming straight to the machine as soon as they check in, and then also a lot of people that are pre-ordering before they get there.
Yep, and I love technology, man. So it's like, and every place that I go to, I'm in and out, right? Like when I go to Target, I'm doing curbside if I can. McDonald's, I even started doing the kiosk, like picking it up there. So I think it will be easy, like you said, for certain type of people, right? If you're the person that loves that, to be in and out. But that allows it to free up time, I think, for those customers that do want a more hands-on experience, because the people that just want to be in and out, boom, they got a solution. But now, like the people, you can dedicate more time to the people that want that hands-on experience. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly. And, you know, I think that today, you got to remember, we're millennials. But the new customer, the ones that are going to spend the capital, are the Gen Zers. They're the ones that are kind of, you know, leading the way with what they call the curve of innovation. They're going to be the first adopters. They're going to be the ones that are really excited about this tech. And they spent their whole days as little kids. From the time they were little kids, they had their phone in their hand and they're watching YouTube and they're playing games on their mom's phone. And now they're adults. Now they're 20, 21 years old and, you know, are 18 and up for the legal market. And they're the ones that are really going to be excited about tech. They're going to be the ones that are really pushing it. Us being a little bit older millennials, you got to kind of think about it from, we're no longer the customer that is the leader of innovation. We're going to use it because it's easy for us. But the young kids, all they do is look at their phones. All they do is play on the internet, you know? So we think this is going to only grow and grow and grow, where your percentage of customers using it versus not. Like, think about this. How many times you actually go to the bank and go stand in line and go to pull out $20? Never.
Airport, none of that stuff.
But if you're going to go pull out $1,000, you might go to the teller. So, yeah, you know, if you want to go buy 5 ounces of weed, you might go to the teller, you know what I mean, or the bud bar. But if you want to get an eighth or a quarter, you just go to the vending machine, or a half.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be such a good look, man.
I wanted to show the viewers the multi-user vending machine, if that's cool.
Yeah, no, you took me right away, because I was going to say, I see you got that bad boy right there, man. Let's see how it works, man.
Let's go through a demo. So no, you're gonna do it. So what we're gonna do really quickly, and let me know if for some reason something's going on, is we're gonna just kind of walk through and show you a little bit about it. So each side has its own dedicated touchscreen, camera, ID scanner, and pickup portal, as well as a cash receptor and a card acceptor. We have advertisement screens here where you guys can show your daily deals, you know, important things for dispensaries. Here's another touch screen right here, a whole nother basically vending machine. And we'll kind of walk around here. You'll kind of see each one has the exact same stuff. It has numbers. So each one is dedicated to a specific terminal, another advertisement screen, and then another touchscreen and pickup portal. So we're gonna walk you through a quick transaction. So
someone's gonna check you in at the front, right? So here, someone's got to physically, legally check their ID and check them in a simple peer. Once they're checked in, they're gonna say, "Hey, you're all good to go," and they'll have access to the machine. To get access, they need their ID.
You scan your big barcode in the back of your ID.
Scan the ID. Once your ID has been verified, you now have access to the machine, and you can look by category: flowers, vapes, edibles, whatever you want. You can look by cannabis type, and you can browse the different products. So let's look at this one. Let's say you want to learn more.
You can read about it. You can click on a picture. You can zoom in on the buds. And once you're ready to make a decision, you just add it to your cart.
You can view your cart.
You can view it.
Say it looks good. All right, let's check out.
At this point, you can pay cash right down here, or you can pay debit.
So I'm going to swipe my card.
It's on demo mode, so we're going to swipe the card.
Once it's processed, it's going to go ahead and authorize the order, then the products. I just heard it drop. And you're walking out of your dispensary in seconds. And that's one of the GreenSTOP models is cannabis in seconds. If you want it, you can take your time, or cannabis in seconds. It's available.
Thanks.
So that's part A of the system, right? So part A that everybody knows about is the vending machine. It's exciting, right? Part B is the mobile app. And part of that mobile app is before they even get in the dispensary, they can pre-verify, upload their ID, their information. They can browse products, pre-order for kiosk pickup, and it will send all this streamlined reporting to the vending machine. And part C is the management dashboard that manages everything. So for the mobile app, I'll show you just really quickly. You basically can just pull up the app. It can be linked into your website as well. And once you pick that up, you can kind of see all the products that are available. You can click on them. You can read about them.
Terpenes, effects, hybrid, whatever you want to know. All the different products in there too. So if you want to see the pre-rolls, you can scroll through them, the cartridges, the edibles, the accessories, whatever you want, you can check it out. And this one even has up to ounces in it.
Yep, you can have up to an ounce in the machine.
So there's ounces that come out for certain brands. But you, long story short, can add it to your cart. Once you check out, it asks you for your driver's license, your email. If you want to put your email in because it's like Lyft or Uber, you'll get an email receipt. And then you put your information in. Once you do that, you'll have a pre-order waiting for you at the machine.
So what's cool about that is your pre-order will be ready for you at the machine. You just scan your ID and then you pay and you check out. So it's streamlining not only the in-store experience, but the pre-order experience. When you guys get a pre-order at your store, there's a bud tender that needs to come off the floor and go pack that order and then prep it for the customer when they walk in. With our system, it handles pre-orders and it handles in-store. So you're now lowering the amount of bud tenders you need to run your floor, and you can utilize them for other things. Like in California, they can go be delivery drivers, or they can start doing your backstock, or they can reload the machines, or they can be the bud tenders that are on duty at the bud bar. So you're basically going to be able to manage your store with less overhead and less distraction of having to go pack orders and things like that. So that's the positive of it.
We got a question live from LinkedIn, brothers. What is the average time a customer spends shopping at a machine?
Well, I think that varies based on the customer's preference, what they're looking for. But you can do a transaction as easy as 30 seconds. And if you're spending a little bit more time, you can spend, I think about 2 or 3 minutes at max. It would take a customer to go through a transaction if they're just reading about everything, because this is the first time you're going to have a product. You want to grab me a product? Yeah. This is the first time you're going to have a product that you can read all the information, learn about the terpenes, learn about the THC percentage, learn about everything. Not just, the required information, but what the brand or the manufacturer wants you to know about that product. A bud tender won't be able to give you that information. So I see that sometimes people take a little bit more time reading the descriptions because it's new to them. But once they're comfortable with the machine or they know exactly what they want, it's usually about a 30-second to a minute transaction time.
Yeah, well, and one of the things that I thought was dope from our previous conversations, and I don't know if you said you may have, but say, can you mention how many different products like can be like in this machine? 'Cause I think that's cool too, that you have so much variety in there.
Yeah. So there's 76 unique SKUs, and the machine can hold up to about 500 units. Now, a reason why I say up to 500 is if you have just pre-rolls, you can get up to 500. But if you got a bunch of glass jars and big boxes, it's all about real estate, right? So the more real estate you're taking up, the less units you'll have. But most loads will have anywhere from about 300 to 500 units inside the machine. And what that comes out to as far as dollars is you're going to have over 10 grand in product in the machine in one refill.
Awesome. Yeah, man. This is the future right here, man. So, for you guys, man, and, with this technology, how do you see this changing the game? And what do you see as like the future of retail and cannabis? Do you think this is something that's going to be widely adopted?
Yes. We feel this is the new emerald standard of the industry. This is the new standard of how do I run an optimal business, but also offer a world-class experience. That's what big box office retail, that's what just the world in general is doing right now. So we feel it's going to fall in line with those trends. And as far as us, we really see GreenStop as a competitive advantage. Like one thing I really keep stressing, James talks about this a lot, is right now you can buy weed in about 10,000 dispensaries throughout the nation. But very soon you're able to buy it in a lot more locations. When it comes down to alcohol, you're able to buy it in, you can buy alcohol in millions of locations right now, right? So cannabis is going to go that direction. So how do you have competitive advantages, as entrepreneurs? Because we're both entrepreneurs. James been doing business his whole life. I've been doing business my whole life. So we think about it from, even though the idea was spawned as a consumer, I've been able to also see it from the angle of an entrepreneur. We really believe this is going to be one of the most competitive advantages against big money that's coming into the industry. This is going to be one of the biggest advantages to evolution that happens through the industry. And we just believe that watching trend, we're futurists, watching past trends and current trends, we're predicting the future that everything is going through an automation revolution, and GreenStop is right in sync with that.
Yeah.
Yep. And another question we got live from LinkedIn. What is the shelf life of a product in the machine? And with that also, talk a little bit about the security features of the machine too.
Yeah, so great question. Shelf life, it's basically the same as having on the shelf in your store. These aren't air conditioned; they are air cooled. So think about it from a perspective of there is a fan that pulls out all the hot air and continues to keep it temperature controlled inside the machine, but it's not AC, because you don't want to put cannabis in an AC environment, because if it goes too low, it gets dries out, gets too hot, it gets really soft and stuff like that. So your shelf life of putting it on the shelf in your dispensary and sitting on the shelf for the same amount of time, it's the same shelf life, so it doesn't change anything. And what was the second question? Security. Oh, great.
Talk about the security features of it, features of the machine.
For sure. So this is double the thickness of an ATM safe. So when you think about it from that perspective, it does hold cash. It does hold product. It's 700 plus pounds. So in California, it qualifies as a safe for dispensaries. And then we bolt it to the ground, so you can't pick it up and go with it. If you can carry 700 pounds, good luck. I mean, it'd be easier just to go grab all the shit off the wall that's in the dispensary. But yeah, so it's basically it's double the thickness of the safe, and it meets the DA requirements for Schedule 1 substances. So that's also a little added benefit.
Yep. And hey, man, I'm saying, I got a trick question, man. What new markets are you most excited about, and why?
For me personally, the newest market, I'll let James tell the second market, but for me is the event space. I think the event space right now, we already have a deal right now for later this year to go into concerts. So that to me, I love music too. That's another love of mine outside of sports and business and invention. Is I think it's going to be the biggest thing ever. I think music festivals that are now selling and allowing consumption at festivals and other type of concert events and other type of events. Like it would evolve. Like it's in California, we have fairs out here. We have
Bro, I can't imagine like that vending machine, like in Cali, if they could consume at events like that, those vending machines being at a concert or like something like that, that's cool. That would go crazy.
Crazy. Like I dream about it. I literally probably had about like 20 dreams about it already. Like the concert division, that division alone makes me just, it gives me goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps. Like I'm super thrilled and waiting for that rollout. It's already in process. They've already had event licenses since the end of 2021 going to 2022. But the hurdles that they had to overcome, they finally overcome them. So 2023 is the year that you'll see some concerts going live where people aren't just sneaking weed in and getting high, but
they're buying it.
People are buying it there, and they have consumption sites at those concerts as well.
So
bro, I can't wait for that to spread east.
Hey, in the company that's putting these on is one of the biggest companies in events. So it's going to be huge. We'll obviously invite you out because it's going to be lit. Market number 2 is obviously we're excited to get out of California and make it to the East Coast, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts. You know, the new markets expanding on the East Coast that are the new prime markets that, you know, we want to be involved in. We want to be in every legal state that we can be. You know, our goal, when we see GreenSTOP in 5 years from now, there's thousands of locations nationwide, and there's hundreds of locations worldwide outside of California, outside of the United States, and that's the market that we're excited about. We're not bound and shackled by our state laws because we're not a cannabis company. So that's something that we see as a future mover for us is we want to be everywhere. Every location you open, I want to be with you. I want to be everywhere. I want to be in these event spaces. And I think that right now it's still taboo, but eventually you will see stadiums. You will see massive event spaces having an outside smoking section or even an indoor smoking section. Or rooftop smoking sections. And just imagine this 4-user vending machine sitting right there and people purchasing cannabis to go smoke.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, man. Because I'll tell you, first of all, you know, I love the technology, man. Like my dispensary, I wanted to be the most futuristic, like technology advanced dispensary that people have ever come in. So I'm excited to have this GreenSTOP vending machine here. You know what I'm saying? It's Simply Pure in Trenton. So you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people haven't had the experience of using one. So you can pull up over there and get to see a cannabis vending machine, you know what I'm saying, live in action. So I think that's going to be super dope. But like, yeah, man, like you're saying, like, I'm just thinking of the future technical applications of this. Like as cannabis becomes legalized, like it's so ridiculous, man. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And also we want to have a consumption lounge. So I can imagine, like, you know, like you said, having something like this in there, figuring out how to put it in there. Again, it's a game changer, man.
Think about when you go to the bars. We've all been in the bars in our younger days where you're trying to order, you know, 3 shots for you and your buddies and a few beers, right? And the bartender is not paying attention to you because maybe he doesn't think you're going to be a big tipper or you're not the hot girl across the bar. So he's ignoring you and you're all waiting. There's so many people that are trying to spend money and then you just walk away because there's such a long line or it's just so inconvenient that you want to get back to partying or get back to talking to your friends or living your life. Our system is built for getting people in and out and on with their life. You know, the old days of cannabis where you hang out and smoke a joint with your bud tender, that's over. You're not grabbing weed out the jar anymore and sniffing it. That's over unless you're in a legacy market like, you know, Colorado where you can still do that. But most people are pre-packing their weed. Most people want to get their stuff without somebody's germs or sneezing on it and get on with their life, whether that's in consumption lounge where they want to roll a joint and chill with their friends, or they want to take it and go. And I think consumption lounges is something that no one's even scratched the surface of it. It's even smaller than the amount of dispensaries. It's probably 500 consumption lounges legally in the United States are actually popping. You know what I mean? So
and actually open probably 100 or 50.
Yeah,
even California only has like 3 consumption lounges open in the whole state. Yeah. Even though other people are licensed, actually open is a different situation.
Yep. Yeah, man. And like real talk, I gotta really give it to y'all because this is like real Black excellence. Like I said, the technology is like used to be. You know, it always tell people like one of the best ways to get into cannabis is exploring like the ancillary industries, because like this license, going through that whole regulatory thing is extremely hard. Like I said, the amount of capital have to raise to do this is extremely hard, which I'm sure doing this was no cakewalk either. But just talk about that a little bit. Like, what would you say for other people that want to get into the industry? Like, you know, what would, like, you know, you guys are taking the ancillary path. What have you seen as some of the, I guess, pros to that? And for some people that want to raise capital for their business, like, you know, talk about that. Like, what was that process like for you, you know, with GreenSTOP?
Yeah, great question. I guess some of the benefits for us, the reason why we chose the ancillary route is we did a lot of research. Like, we're research heads, you know, before we make huge moves, dedicate our life to something, right? You know, we gotta know what we're getting into. But we did a lot of research, and we realized that we would have the least exposure to risk and the most flexibility to move throughout the industry hands off, right? Because there's obviously the MSOs, but those MSOs, well, they climb mountains to move, you know, their brands to different states, and especially if they are vertically integrated, move mountains to do that. And we realized that, wow, it was going to be a big uphill battle. That's why I might take my hat off to you to here. I mean, going and getting licensed, we knew what kind of challenge that was going to be as well. So we take our hats off to you. But yeah, as far as us, that was our thinking in the pitch was we'd have more flexibility to hop state to state to state to state. We're not worried about moving our product through lines. It's technology. We're not moving weed across state to state to state, right? And then we knew that we would be shielded, that, you know, if there were crackdowns, they're going to come for hands-on operators before hands-off operators. We kind of knew that. So that was kind of our strategy. The beautiful thing is we knew that was going to change. So we wanted to be in position for when it does change to evolve. We don't want to be ancillary the whole time. That wasn't the original vision. That was just a strategic move early in the journey. The original vision was to have our own products and stuff like that. But we realized what Himalayan mountain we'd have to climb over to do that as well, on top of design all the technology and get it in the market. So we're like, let's go ahead and, you know, pick our path. And we decided to start, hey, let's just focus heavily on the technology because that's the original vision. Let's stay hands off, and as the market unfolds, we'll evolve with it.
And
but that's smart too, because so many people, like, everybody comes in this game being like, oh, I want to have a brand or a dispensary or a grow, but you quickly saw in and saw like this is the bread and butter. So it's like, we're going to do this and like kind of leave that alone and focus on the vision. So that's smart business.
Yeah, and to talk about raising capital, right? You know, just as much as everybody else knows, raising capital in cannabis is impossible almost. You know, you got to knock on 1 million doors to get one yes. And then when you're talking about technology and the founders of that technology company being of color, you're now talking about this little bit of money, or even being a woman founder. It goes completely down as well. So, you know, it is a hard journey. I think regardless if you're on the touching side or the non-touching side, it's hard to raise capital. But, you know, you just got to find the right people that believe in your vision and that believe in the founders. And, you know, for us, we're always raising capital. We got some exciting news that we're going to be announcing pretty soon about a new investor that's coming on, that came on board. But we're still looking for capital because we want to be in thousands of locations, which means we're going to need hundreds of millions of dollars. And most tech companies outside the industry can garner that kind of money, being a hardware startup with software applications, proprietary technology. Multi-user vending is a patent that we have secured. So that's what makes us a lot different. But raising capital in cannabis is extremely hard. Everybody knows that. So
I mean, you got to start with yourself. So that's one thing I want to say too, is like people kind of like always they always say, hey, get something done with other people's money. And that's true. That is a great strategy when you're at certain points in your life. Sometimes, you know, you got to be the first mover for your stuff. If you truly believe in, you know, myself, James was the first like heavy investor, giving it all up, taking out loans, risking it all. You know, then we started getting, you know, our friends and family involved, but you're going to have to be the first mover. You're going to have to put up the first chunks of capital. You're going to have to get the first bits of traction on whatever your vision is. Whether it's starting a brand, you know, getting some prototypes, you know, whatever it is, you're going to have to start moving it first. And then, you know, we've been able to get more support from there. But really, it started with James, myself, It started with our initial first partners, giving everything they had. And you got to be dedicated. You know, everyone has different situations, but we had to figure out, how do I get thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month into a business? You know, for us living in California with all these expenses and stuff. So we had to make drastic adjustments. I'm not gonna get those right now. We had to make drastic shifts to figure out how to get money, you know, into the business. And really the money started with us for the first several years. I'm telling you right now, like, we couldn't get even one person to even think about it for years. It was us and the partners. But then at a certain distance, we had enough traction to where, okay, some of my friends and families and, you know, uncles or old high school buddies are kind of seeing the movement. We were able to get them to get involved, but really it had to start with yourself, and you can't be scared to invest in yourself. So I want to leave y'all with that as well too.
Man, and that's such great real advice. I think everything, the way you broke it down, because I'm the same here, right? You got to be your own investor first and believe in it enough to get this thing going before you can ask for anybody else to just put something behind the idea. It's going to take them, you know, you got to put some meat on the bones to get you from point A to point B. And then, you know, the investor takes you from C to D or C to wherever, you know what I'm saying? So the way you broke it down, I think that made a lot of sense. And like you said, you had to make adjustments in your life to, you know, and you really do. It was a real investment in yourself to do it.
Yeah, and it was crazy. Like one move we did is I got rid of my apartment and moved into James's house, right? And then it got even realer than that. And then we moved out of James's house as well. You know what I'm saying? To figure out how to stop paying. You know, he's paying over $2,000 a month of rent. I'm paying $1,700 a month in rent. I'm like, how do we get $4,000 or $5,000 into our business? Well, shit, we might have to get rid of our shelter. You know what I mean? We might have to switch it up.
I just seen the Jeff Bezos movie. They was getting it in his garage. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make it happen.
Yeah, and the no excuse mentality, man. Like, everybody wants to be like, oh, you know, COVID happened or this happened, and all that kind of mentality of, like, you know, perfect conditions. That's never going to be the case. Every day you wake up, you got real life to address. You got family members that are sick, family members that need money, family members need this, X, Y, and Z, and you still got to focus on your business. And a lot of times you're going to sacrifice your time with your friends and family. And if you're not willing to do that, don't be an entrepreneur, because it's extremely hard. You know, you're traveling, you're meeting, you're doing this, you're having to ignore phone calls because
you're on stakeouts, waiting for opportunity that people don't understand.
Opportunity doesn't wait for anybody. You got to take advantage.
It's a tough life.
Yeah, you got to get at it, man. You know the deal.
Yeah, man. Nah, bro, y'all had so many gems, and like I said, it's so exciting. Like I said, what y'all are doing, I'm looking forward to working with y'all. Tell folks, like, how can folks learn more about GreenSTOP? Like, where can they find you? Where can they learn more information? And you know, we already know where you can come see one in action, but tell folks where they can learn more about you.
So if you guys don't know, we are going to be joining Simply Pure in Trenton with Tahir. We're going to be bringing our vending machine to his store. It's not going to be his vending machine, and he's going to be the first one in New Jersey with it. So that's some good news. Actually, the first one on the East Coast, officially. So congratulations on that. And we're super excited to work with you, brother. But if you guys want to learn more about GreenSTOP, you can head over to our website. It's greenstop.us, all one word. We're greenstop.us on Instagram.
Is there a chat box?
LinkedIn. Yeah, we can put it in the chat box.
You put it in the chat.
As well. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I'll put the website right down here. And if you guys got any questions, you can reach out to us through our website, through Instagram. I think originally we were put together through Instagram. So that's how we met. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where you can hit us up anywhere. You find us, hit us up.
Hey, power, you know, social media, all of that, man. And, you know, like I said, these brothers, man, they official. You can Google them, man. They all in TechCrunch and all of that. So, you know, they're the serious brothers over here, man.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Tahir, man. And we really appreciate you putting this together, man. This podcast you're doing, I can feel it. I can feel the energy. I can feel it's powerful what you're doing, what you guys have been to create this community right here. And thank you for having us, man. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. It's been a blessing. So this is nice, man. I'm excited. anything that we can do to push the industry forward, I'm all about. And anyone supporting it, trust me, I support you.
Facts, man. You already know, man. We're looking forward to rocking with y'all, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. You know, we'll be right back for y'all with some more heat. You know what I'm saying? A couple more fire guests we're gonna have through. But to my brothers James and Tim, thank you for pulling up. And you know, we gonna be talking a lot soon, man. So y'all make sure y'all pull up to Trenton when we open. Who knows exactly when it's gonna be soon? To make sure I let y'all know. And thanks for rocking with the Cannabis Diversity